In this video, we're going to look at the table tool and the banner tool. So to start with, I'm going to insert my table. And the table, you'll notice, is the last icon and the top of our toolbar. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click and drag my table onto my page. Once I've released my mouse, the table will automatically give me some options. It'll ask me how many rows I want, how many columns I want, and the layout. So I'm just going to go with 5 rows and 5 columns to start with. So that'll be the lines across and the lines straight down. And then the layout is asking me what size do I want the border. Now that's the border of the entire table. What padding do I want for each cell? And the cell is simply each individual square that you will see inside the table. The padding means how big is the border going to be on those. And then it's going to ask for the spacing between each cell. So how much of a space will actually be left between each little individual square in the border. So I'm going to make each of these a little bit larger so you can actually see them in work. So I'm going to make 10, 7, and 5. And I'm going to press OK. So you'll notice here that the border for the table is quite thick. You will notice that there is spacing and padding around each and every cell, and remember the cell is each individual square in there. Now I can enlarge my table, or I can make it smaller with all these little boxes here. And to edit it, we right click and go to the properties. There's one little difference with tables. We can edit the table as a whole, so the entire table, or we can edit each cell individually. So to start with, we'll edit the entire table and then we'll look at each cell. So to edit the whole table, we right click, and down the bottom we go to Table Properties. Inside the Table Properties, you'll notice that we can change the 3 things that we've already set up. So I think the border size is a bit too big, I can reduce that. It will allow me to change the background color of the entire table. So I'm going to go Aqua, and I'll just click OK, so that way you can see that. You'll notice that the border has gone a little bit thinner, and the background is Aqua. I'm going to right click, Table Properties. Custom colors. So for the border, I might want to make the border a different color, and you'll notice that the border's color changes there as well. Now, the table properties will also allow you to put an image as the background if you want. So instead of picking a background color, I can pick a background image. And that image will become my table background. I'm going to remove that image just so we can have a look at the cells. Okay, so I'm going to make the background aqua again, and I'm going to make my border yellow so it stands out, and OK. So with this table now, I'm going to change some of the cell properties. That means whichever cell I click on will be the one that I'm editing. So if I want to edit this one cell in the middle, I'll click on that one, right click, and this time go to Cell Properties. Now inside the Cell Properties, I can change the color of that cell's background. So I'm going to say purple. Once again, I could also put in an image. I can change the border color of that cell. So I'm going to make that cell's border black. So the color of the background of that cell will be purple, and the border will be black. So when I click OK and I click away, it's hard to see the black border, but that's purple on the inside and a black border on the outside. So I could do that for each individual cell. I could go through and make changes to every cell that I wanted. The alignment talks about if I had text or pictures in there. Would they be aligned left, center, middle, down, top? So a table could be used for things like a gallery. You might want to have 10, 15 photos on one page. So you could click on each individual cell, go to its properties, and add the photo in for every one of those cells. Now these photos are quite large, so you're not actually going to see them properly unless our table was really big. But you would have photos that are of the right size, so you would be able to have a different photo in every single one of your cells. And so on. So with the table, it's important to remember that you can edit the entire table itself, or you can edit each individual cell that is inside the table. The other tool we'll look at quickly in this video is the banner tool, which can be found in your extra tools bar. Now, if that extra tools bar isn't there, or if you're missing any of the bars that I have on my screen, it's fairly easy to get those. You simply just go View, Toolbars, and then you just click on the one that hasn't got a tick that you need. So extra tools, I would click on that, and the tick would appear, and then your extra tools bar will appear. Okay, so I'm going to click on the banner, I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to right click, Object Properties. Now the banner text is currently the page title. So if I want to change that, I just untick the box and then I can give it whatever I want. I can always change the font type, I can make it bold, italic, I can change the size. I can also change the color. So these are things we've already done. Now the size and position, banner size, we can fit it to the layout of the rectangle we drew, or we can actually make a size ourselves. We can make it horizontal, centered, right or left, and the same for vertical, top, middle, down. So this will change where the writing is. So I'm going to say bottom, right. You can play around with your offsets to see what effect they have. And as we've used before, we can change the background, either make it a solid color, a gradient color, or an actual image. So the solid would be one straight color. The gradient would be a mixture of two colors. And as always, we can change the style of gradient that we have, or we could put an image in. So if I go back to the offset, if we play around with that, you'll see the effect it has. So the offset is actually changing where the writing will be. So if you're not 100% happy with the horizontal and vertical, you can actually get this offset button to change it for you. So once I hit OK, my banner appears. So that's another nice effect that you can add to your website. So that there is the use of the table and the banner tools in WYSIWYG.